mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad.
Hey.
Hello. Well, listen, today is a special day, family.
Second episode of the week.
Second episode of the week, first of all.
Yes.
Also, we do have a special treat. We felt like it was time to bring in another member of the family, a member that people have not yet been introduced to. Not only is this person Instagram-less, so you won't find them on social media.
They don't exist.
This person is someone who is genuinely a part of our family.
Yes.
It is my very, very best friend, the love of my life. It's Katie. It's Aunt Katie.
Oh, Shantae. I am so happy to be here.
Also known as Kate Ball.
We call her Kate Ball. We call her, it's always Aunt Katie because to Ember, it's Aunt Katie.
Aunt Katie for life.
Honestly, though, it is kind of wild because if you've been listening to Chatty Broads, this has been an individual who, whenever I tell a story about a very wild night in my life or an exciting moment, and I'm always like, I was out with a friend, and I try to keep you anonymous sometimes depending on the story.
Never say my name.
I try to keep you anonymous sometimes, just for the protection of the story, but it's always Katie. It's always Katie.
Yes. When Jess goes out and has these legendary nights, a lot of this is due to the fact that Kate Ball is a part of our lives, and a part of my wife's life. And, here's the thing. She's kind of just a legend in the streets.
Katie is such a legend. I don't even quite know how to describe. When I try to tell people about Katie, I try to describe her and then they meet her and then I get the feedback after and they're like, oh my God, it was wilder than I thought it was going to be.
You guys, this intro, I'm blushing. Lee, don't look.
This is the woman who I met. How long has it been since has it been almost 6 years now?
About 6 years.
So wild. So maybe
pure
about
bliss.
Pure bliss, honestly,
Pure bliss.
Another member of my family, which you're always the perfect example to me of when I hear people talking about being later in life and meeting friends. I'm always like, that was Katie to me. I've had amazing friends, but then when I was maybe 29, I met my best friend for life, which to me is always one of those things where you're like, never shut down meeting new friends because you might meet that person who's going to be your forever person.
100%. Oh, my biggest life regret is that Jess and I didn't go to college together.
College would have been wild together.
And can I come or no, I can't?
Probably not. We would have left you at home, Evan, but
Evan does get left at home a lot.
I get left at home a lot.
We have to
It's
leave you
cool.
at home for the stories.
That's true. That's true.
You can get in the way of the stories sometimes, but we
Yeah.
love you. But we do love you.
We'll
Here's
tell
the
it
thing.
to you when we get home.
Yes, Evan is the
true.
best. We have, and actually we're recording this Wednesday night.
Even though
which,
I'm responsible for your guys' relationship.
Not really.
Yes, I am. I connected you guys through, it was my friend group, and you were a part of my friend group.
But I didn't meet you before her.
she saw me across the room.
And I was like, who is this beauty?
And we locked eyes
The
and
mute cute.
it was a mute cute. And
I
we
was
walked
like,
to the bar and
You look like you only drink beer and champagne.
I was like a correctamundo, honey.
I was like, please sit and talk to me at the bar for 5 hours minimum.
Yeah, it was
Right.
one of Evan's mutual friends, a birthday party. And honestly, a birthday party, which in true Katie fashion, which we will get into in this episode because Katie will have all the advice. Katie hadn't met the birthday boy and just invited herself. And she said, I know mutual friends and I'm going to show up, even though I've never met him. And it's a small get together because you were somewhat new in town.
Very new in town, did not know his last name, but thought I would be an asset, which I was.
Which you were. And it was one of Evan's friends. And we saw each other at the bar and we started to talk. And it was genuinely cut to 5 hours later. And I'm like, I remember hopping in the Uber with Evan and being like, I think I just met my new best friend.
Yeah.
It was immediate. And from then on, we would spend many days a week together for like the past 6 years.
Oh, I remember Evan being like, she does not text anybody. And she replies to your text first.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, you mean Jess? Yeah.
No, she's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
she doesn't reach out to anybody first.
No,
I'm
never.
a horrible texter. I'm notoriously horrible at texting,
Yeah.
but I couldn't resist a Katie text.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Come to me every
That's
night.
a true gauntlet.
I know.
It is.
It really is.
We're going to get into this because we have a lot to break down. The family needs to know about Aunt Katie and the wisdom that Aunt Katie can bring to the stage of this podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm
honestly. But first, we have to take a quick pause. So family, we all know these days grocery store shopping can get expensive. So we want to know where we can save money grocery shopping. I will tell you that is Thrive Market. Thrive Market is my go-to for all of my grocery and household essentials, and the convenience of getting it all quickly shipped to my doorstep is a huge time saver. And as a Thrive Market member, I can save money on every single order. On average, I save over 30% each time. Last time I saved about $40 on my order. It's amazing.
Not only does Thrive Market save money, but they also save us time. They have filters on their website or app that make shopping so much more streamlined. Whether you're looking for certified gluten-free snacks or non-toxic cleaning essentials, you can curate your own shopping experience with the click of a button.
Oh my gosh, that filter seriously has saved me so much time. Also, not roaming grocery store aisles for an hour trying to find that one thing. I throw that Thrive filter on and boom, found, baby. And truly, Thrive Market carries all my favorite products all in one place, from sustainable seafood to clean beauty products. We love it. Join Thrive Market today and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. Go to thrivemarket.com/momdad for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/momdad, thrivemarket.com/momdad. So, Katie, it is a supreme honor to have you on because you've never been on a podcast before.
Ever in my life. I'm so nervous.
We did. The fact of the matter is, typically Wednesday is family dinner night. Katie always comes over and has family dinner with Evan and I.
And when we
tricked
family
me.
dinner, we mean we bring Katie over.
We bring Katie over and me and Katie talk Evan's ear off for about 7 hours and tell us all the stories.
These guys are insane. Like, all they do, this is literally their relationship, is they go do something really fun and then talk about it for 3 or 4 weeks and then do another fun thing. That's basically the cycle of their life. Until you're in the presence of Katie, you don't realize the consistent positive flow of energy that is coming at you at all times. And then when you go out, she's the ultimate go out partner.
Yes, correct.
Because the energy is always vibrating at a high level.
Yes.
Had I known that I was going to get this many compliments, I would have come on this years ago.
I would have submitted.
Keep it coming.
Fun fact about Katie is she's our best friend and she's never listened to the podcast before.
Yes, she's never heard the podcast, which makes it so much better.
When I go out with Katie, Katie is my supreme PR wingwoman, where she will go up to random people and be like, have you heard of Chatty Broads, or have you heard of Your Mom and Dad? It is the best podcast, most incredible. And then, sidebars like, I've never listened to it before, but I heard it's amazing.
I have to believe it's the best.
You have to know. You have to know. But here's part of the legend of Katie. You might not have an Instagram, which, by the way, when did you officially delete your Instagram? Because when we first started hanging out, you had one.
I did. I remember the day, though, that you guys both followed me, and I was like, oh my God. They like me. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll follow them back in 3 days.
Yeah.
3 business days later.
It was on a Friday. I was like, Tuesday we'll do.
Yeah.
I deleted it probably at least a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years.
How have you felt? Well, first of all, why did you delete it?
Liberated.
Yeah.
I just feel like social media these days, and it's, to each their own, but the stuff that I was following was just negative energy to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel better. And I'm not I'm a consumer. I'm not a sharer.
Got it.
On there.
Right. Yeah, you'd never used to post.
Yeah, it was like very rare. So I'm like, what am I consuming? What am I subjecting myself to? And it wasn't positive. So I was like, you know what? I'm gone.
And you feel so much better.
So much better.
Since deleting it.
Yes. I also don't like people having access, like just because I have an Instagram account and they message me that I'm obligated to respond.
Yeah, you're a private. So Katie's a Scorpio. She is our Scorpio queen, like our daughter. What are your thoughts on people with the negative Scorpio energy? I feel like I have a Scorpio daughter, and people are always like, oh God, a Scorpio. I'm like, I love a Scorpio.
Me and Ember chatted about it and decided haters.
Seriously.
We agreed. I mean, we're the hierarchy. We're like top creme de la creme.
Another thing, if you guys haven't already picked up on this, Katie has an unbelievable sense of loving oneself.
Yes.
Like that's something that I noticed, that it's like, you know, there's one thing to be like cocky, or another thing to be like trying to love yourself, or another thing to like remind to love yourself. But then there's like the genuine people that like have the thing of just like, I inherently am just happy to be me. And I find that fascinating because generally I don't like much about myself. So I'm always like, I'm in therapy. I'm like talking to myself while I'm like, yay, everything's fine. You know what I mean? But to genuinely wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you're the shit, is so foreign to me. And then it's like when I meet someone like this, I'm like, what planet are you on? Like
Mars.
Katie.
Planet Katie. Come. It's a party. Take the party bus.
She never said no to a party bus.
No.
This is one of the things that she will have on her tombstone. It's already been decided.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
My mom's proud.
and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but like, was there a turning point for you, or was it just the day that you opened your eyes, you were just like, life's fucking awesome and I love myself? Or did you ever like go through an arc where this was a struggle, or was it just generally like the serotonin's pumping, everything's good?
I think the latter. Like, I think I literally was born positive.
So there's no hope. What the hell? I was hoping for a hero's arc.
No, I mean, I have worked on it. I feel like more as an adult, as like life gets more serious.
Yeah.
I like read self-help books.
Yes, you do.
And I, talk to friends, and I'm like, okay, how do you make lemonade out of lemons?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because you haven't had, life has had quite its turmoil in your life. We won't get into that. Those are private. We're keeping Katie's personal life personal because, she's off the Instagram and all that. But, it hasn't been an easy journey for you. But yet, here you are.
Life hasn't always been sunshine, but I'm like, what's the positive thing to take from it? And that's like the focus. Like, it's not what you don't have, it's what you do have, which is so cliche. But like, I don't know. I just like look at moments like, what am I grateful for? And that's what I focus on. I think naturally I lean towards that way because at a young age, stuff has happened that I'm like, okay, how do we pivot from this?
Yeah.
And how do we make a good situation out of something that's not so great? But I think it's just like finding those moments. And it could even be like, I was out on a walk the other day and I'm like, oh my God, all the flowers are in bloom and this is amazing and everything's so colorful and beautiful.
Yeah, she'll call me and be like, isn't it amazing outside today? And I'm just like, I've been in my dark cave, just curled up in a ball for the past
Lee's looking over here like the same. He's like, what the hell is going on?
Or I'm like watching The Housewives and I'm like texting Jess, like, if you and I were to ever go on a girls trip, we would be sharing a room. Like, that's a fact. And those who watch The Housewives know that that's like a thing.
Yeah,
That's
it is
a
a thing. And the housewives do bring you a lot of joy.
They bring me so much joy. It's like disturbing. Like, bravo. Bravo, bravo, bravo.
No, but Katie's energy and state of mind is something that, for myself personally, I shared honestly on our last episode about how, been in a panic attack, anxiety spiral tunnel, and meeting Katie was, and like I said, I shared about it on the last episode where I was saying that I think a form of self-care is being able to choose your friends, especially as you're getting older, and like the realization of like, oh, you can choose the people that you surround yourself with. And I remember when I met you and you were just, number one, pumping the positive energy, but also number two, it's like encouragement central, like 24/7, letting me know that you think I'm amazing. If you go into a bathroom, and you see Katie in a bathroom, she is hyping up every single person in that bathroom, like to go out there and get it and how perfect they are and how amazing they are. And I'm like, this is the energy that I need in my life. And it genuinely helps my mental health and my anxiety so much. So, I mean, whatever these self-help books you're reading and all of that.
The link's in the bio.
Don't get it twisted, you guys. I am powerless when it comes to competing with the human happy pill over here.
Powerless.
Okay. Like let's say we're going through something or Jess is going through, I'll do everything I can to like talk and like figure out the best way to, you know, provide some sort of love and happiness. I'll get about halfway there. And then I'll literally just tell her, you should invite Katie over. She should hang. And I know that everything will be solved.
And like that Cruella DeVille meme, like,
yeah, seriously.
Arriving over.
It is literally the happy pill.
Okay, I have a question for you. So in our time together, we've had many wonderful, crazy nights together. I've also taken you with me whenever I'm doing anything in the Bachelor world. Another thing that Katie doesn't do, she doesn't listen to our podcast, and she also doesn't watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. So whenever I take Katie to any sort of Bachelor or Bachelor event, she knows no one. So I'm looking around going like, oh, there's such and such, there's such and such. And Katie always is just like, no idea, gonna go hit on him and just scooch on.
He's cute.
I'm like, oh gosh, that's what's his face.
That's the lead. That's the Bachelor.
Like, but is he single?
Yeah.
That's all I need to know goes over. But here's the thing. One thing that always consistently comes up when I take you to these Bachelor and Bachelorette events, and I think Dave Neal said it on our podcast, I think Katie Thurston has said it on our podcast, that everyone's like, Katie needs to audition for The Bachelor. What are your thoughts on this? Would you ever do it?
Okay.
This is your audition.
I'm like, where am I looking? I would never say never.
Okay.
But I also feel like I'm like 32. Bleep that out, Lee. Let them think I'm 26.
You just take it again.
Yeah, from the top.
Try it again.
Cut that.
Let's
Cut
start the whole
that.
podcast over.
No, but
I know.
there should be more people, I believe, who are a little bit older on the show, but there's definitely people who are in their 30s on the show.
I know, but I'm so private that I feel like I wouldn't give it justice to like go on and like expose everything.
If you were to go on, would you stay Instagramless?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because then all of a sudden, if you were to go on, there's opportunities where you're like, oh, I can start influencing and I can start shilling some stuff out.
Maybe it would be like my rebirth on Instagram.
You have no Instagram until after you get kicked off the show. I mean, you would never get kicked off.
I would win. Like, is there a number one?
Is there a trophy?
My competitiveness comes out. I'm like, but how do I win?
Oh, we can help you with that. Our friends over at a podcast called Game of Roses wrote a book about it. They could literally help you.
And they
You'd be
coach.
fully
I will read
studied.
that.
Yeah, you can read it. They'll coach you and you will win the show.
On the show,
Okay,
there's a lot of
well-
drama about people, quote, not being on the show for the right reasons, like trying to get more followers or trying to get famous.
Right.
You would have the ultimate excuse saying, I don't even have an Instagram.
Yeah, like
That
I'm
would be
here
the
for love.
ultimate in.
Which here's the thing. I feel like there's actually people on this show that would be worth meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%.
100%.
And that would be like, okay, we might be like-minded.
Yeah.
So it is
Ooh,
interesting.
it's happening. The wheels are turning.
I know. I'm like, she's single. Like, perhaps. It's not a no, but it's also like that would be a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I remember talking with Becca about it and the amount of money that people spend because they buy all of the clothes.
I would just go in your room.
Go. She knows about the room, guys.
I would just go into the room and pack a suitcase and wheel it out
And
and,
no one
hope
would
for the
know
best.
anything had left, by the way.
And hope for the best. I'd be like,
Katie-
Amber, pick out a few things and throw it in here.
Katie does know about the room.
We've been backsliding a little bit.
Okay, well,
Can we
you
be
know.
honest about this? There's
All
been
right,
a little
well,
bit of backsliding.
there's
We've had
definitely been a
events.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Yes, we've had some parties.
That's another thing about Katie is that no matter what, she'll always take Jess's side and
she's
betray me
perfect.
immediately. Yes, exactly.
She's perfect and she does no wrong in my life.
I have
quote me.
no ally here.
Put it on the tombstone. Jess is perfect.
See, this is the type of best friend you need,
Yes,
everybody.
yes.
Someone who will help keep you delusional when there's
Dude.
things you need to work
I'm
on. And Katie looks at me, I go, Katie, I should probably work on that. And Katie goes, no, you don't need to work on anything. You're perfect just the way you are. I'm like, all right, going back to my ways.
Listen, I know you crashed the car in a ditch. Leave it there. No one cares about a car anyways.
It's in
Let's
Evan's
take
name.
It over. Yeah, Evan will deal with it. Like that is literally what like friend Katie is. Like, Evan's like, who needed a car anyways? Leave it in the ditch. Let's go onto this party.
Honestly, we have places to go and
Text
people
Evan,
to
he'll
see.
grab it.
Text Evan the problem.
That's exactly what happens every single time is anytime I get into shit. And Katie just goes, just text Evan. He'll figure it out. Let's keep going. I'm like, all right, sounds good.
Oh my god.
But I would love to see you on our screen.
That would be legendary.
I want the privacy for you because I do know one of the things about Katie with the no Instagram, which number one, I've seen, I mean, firsthand because we've been friends throughout the whole thing is when you deleted Instagram, I did see a lightness to you that I was like, oh, I want that. That's beautiful and freeing and refreshing.
Yeah.
But also you are a private person and my Scorpio queen, and you've helped teach me about boundaries and privacy and that like, it's okay. It's good. You have your boundaries, you got your privacy. But I will tell you all one thing. So Katie is currently single and ready to mingle.
Gentlemen,
Start your engines.
you can DM the bad mom. 2 Ds.
Oh God. I was just
2
full-
Ds.
It's still 2 Ds, isn't it?
It's still 2 Ds.
Still 2 Ds. All your applications.
But I will tell you this, when we do go out and Katie is, talking to a fellow that she might be interested in, without fail in this current world we live in, when the guy no one asks for numbers anymore. No one asks for numbers. We've learned this now that you don't have an Instagram. They always ask, what's your Instagram? And when Katie says, I don't have one, they always think you're lying.
Every time.
They always think you're rejecting them like in a soft way. And they're like, well, you could just be honest with me and say you didn't. And you're like, no, I don't have one.
I should be like, here's my Hinge profile.
Yeah. Are you on any apps right now?
No apps.
So you're just basically like in the 90s.
Not even the 1900s.
She has a Venmo. She does let people know that.
I do have a Venmo. So if they want to bribe me for a date, we'll link it in the bio.
I have it.
DM the bad mom for the code.
I have been out and about when a gentleman asks for her Instagram and she instead gives them her Venmo.
Smart.
And sometimes
I'm a businesswoman.
She is a businesswoman. And sometimes,
like,
you know what?
We
They
gotta do
send
it.
through some money and
They
we have
send
the
cash
drinks.
and we're like, gracias.
And you might just send them back in the comment the number if you feel like it was
No.
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 This is
It's just
one-way
like a
street.
gift from God.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A gift from on high.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You've given out the email sometimes.
Sometimes I have given out an email.
That's wild to meet a girl at a bar and be like, "What's your email?"
No. They don't ask for that.
I know what I'm saying. To get an email is like a wild move.
It's funny.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's memorable, right? It's
Yeah.
memorable. It's like a number or an Instagram or something like that is very like run of the mill. But if you get an email, be like, "Yo, bro, I got her email." Like, what?
So Jess and I were actually out recently, and one of the guys working at the bar is like, "Oh, you girls are back," and we're like, "Yeah, we're here."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I really want to take you on a date. Can I please have your number?" And Jess knows this, but I very rarely.
It's very rare.
It's like, I don't even know what it has to be for me to give out my number, but it does not happen.
it has to be like a deep spark where it doesn't happen very often.
No.
That's for sure.
It's very, very rare. This guy's like, "Please, can I have your number?" I'm like, "You know what? We come here often. I will give you 1 digit of my phone number every time I come back here. And if I come back here enough while you're here and you get my entire number, It is fate, and I will go on a date with you.
So
He's up to +1.
Oh, you started with the country code. Oh, that's brutal.
she looks at him and she goes, he's like, all right, I'm ready. She goes, +1.
Oh, no. +1. And then she's like, parentheses.
We'll think about the parentheses, how I'm feeling that night. But
You got to see me like another 11 times.
and then that's serendipity. That is like a movie.
Oh, plus
It's
one
true.
is the ultimate burn.
Yeah, well,
Okay, family, quick pause from this conversation. So, full transparency, I've always wanted to start composting, but for years I didn't because, to be honest, it felt overwhelming and complicated to me. I know, not an excuse, but it's the truth. But I discovered Lomi by Pila, and all that changed. My Lomi allows me to turn my food scraps into dirt with the push of a button. Lomi is a countertop electric composter that turns scraps to dirt in under 4 hours. And by the way, there's no smell when it runs, and it's so quiet.
It's incredible. And thanks to Lomi, we have way less garbage each week. I'm talking going from 3 bags down to 1. Like this morning, I was making Ember a smoothie, and boom, all the food scraps went straight into the Lomi, and Ember loves being able to participate and use it too.
Yeah, it's so fun. And like Evan said, since we got our Lomi, we throw out way less garbage, which means it's not going to landfills and producing methane. Instead, we can turn our waste into nutrient-rich dirt. And by the way, I love that the Lomi is not huge, so it can go right on your kitchen countertop, or you can put it in your laundry room. I know that Evan, your sister, has it in her garage. Anywhere you want, it fits.
And if you want to start making a positive environmental impact or just make cleanup after dinner that much easier, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/momdad and use the promo code MOMDAD to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you go to lomi.com/momdad and use promo code MOMDAD at checkout. Food waste is gross. Let Lomi save you a cold trip out to the garbage can.
Oh my goodness. I want to tell you all about my most favorite thing. You all know what it is. It's Vegamore, the apple of my eye when it comes to my hair and scalp health, because it's made with clean ingredients and it works. I've personally seen an amazing hair transformation since I started using Vegamore. I am so grateful for them. They are my favorite.
With Vegamore, you're able to have visibly thicker, fuller, shinier, and longer hair, all without harsh ingredients.
And Vegamore's shampoo and conditioner is my absolute favorite because it makes taking care of my hair health so easy. I'm going to shampoo and condition anyway, so I use Vegamore and it makes staying consistent so simple. Also, I highly suggest their Grow Essentials kit, where you get to try more than one amazing product at a great savings. When you sign up for a monthly subscription, you save more and you never run low on the products you need to take care of your hair. And by the way, their Grow Serum is a yes. Fun fact, Vegamore sells 1 bottle of Grow Serum every 15 seconds on their website. That is how good this stuff is.
Give yourself the hair you never thought you could have with Vegamore. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their first order by going to vegamore.com/momdad and use code MOMDAD at checkout. That's VEGAMOUR.com/momdad, code MOMDAD to save 20% on your first order. Vegamore.com/momdad, code MOMDAD.
Okay, well, speaking of this, though, we posted on our Instagram and we said, listen, we have a legend coming on. And when I tell you all, like, as you can hear, there is legendary action that goes on when Katie is out and about. I have to say this is a fact. I have never been around someone, like Evan was saying, number one, with the self-love, also with the confidence, where I then walk away feeling like, just watching your confidence, I feel like $1,000,000. So I'm like, okay, Katie is now single. I've seen her out on the town. I see her doing her thing. So I know the family will probably want to send in questions about dating advice that we can discuss and specifically hear from you because, you know.
Give the people what they want.
you're the expert.
I don't know if I'm an expert, but trust and believe I've dated losers to winners.
You've dated
and
everything
I've dated
in between.
everything in between. So I feel like I can offer maybe, hopefully, some helpful advice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, off of that, a very, very frequent question that we were getting was involving going out and meeting people. A lot of people were saying, when they're not on the apps, they don't know how to meet people in real life and if you're at like a bar or if you're, at a restaurant, wherever out and about, how do you break the barrier and break the ice essentially to go up and talk to someone that you might be interested in? What are your thoughts, Katie?
There's many. There's a lot of different tactics. One that I think is actually easy and disarming. You see a cute boy across the room and you just wave.
I've seen that work.
You make
so
eye contact
much.
and you just like smile and wave. And it's like you don't need to say anything. Mm-hmm. You don't need to like be like, oh, what's he gonna say back or anything like that. You just wave. And if he denies you, you're like, oh, I was waving to the boy behind you. Not you. Like, no, that wasn't you.
That's also another thing real quick, just to add to this, is that Katie is a master of keeping you on your toes. As a man, she is incredible at being like, I'll show you I like you, but at the first sign of this is not going the way I want it to, I will immediately retain control of the situation. Like, even for you to have that in your back pocket was such a clutch move.
Which is part of, I feel like, an incredible tactic when you're out in the dating world, is that you have fucking fun.
Yes.
That's that.
I never
feel like
take
that's
myself too seriously.
Yes.
Even the
Ever.
wave, if I'm thinking about a girl waving at me, it's like a fun move.
It's so sweet.
It's not,
hi.
and it's also, it's very sweet. And it's also, it's like a very easy icebreaker that's not like, now we have to have a conversation. It's just enough to kind of go, are we on the same page? And if not, it's already over.
Exactly.
Versus like jumping through. I think that's a great way to do it.
Oh, and then it's like, so then when I've watched this many times too, which is again, you not taking yourself too seriously ever. And you're just having a good time. It's like the idea of when you're out, you are like, I'm here to have a good time. I'm not here to meet people. But if I happen to see someone that I might be interested in, well, then why not? Let's have a good time. Let's engage. I have seen on so many occasions where you wave to a guy and then he'll walk over. And the first thing Katie will say when she looks at him and she goes, what are you doing here?
This torture.
And the guy's just like, oh, I thought you were. I think he's like, well, while you're over here, you might as well buy me a drink. Bing, bing.
And honestly, it works every time.
It does work. I've seen it work many, many times.
Sometimes even if they're unsure, you just wave them over. Just a little wave. You're like, yeah, you come here. And they come over and then you pull that. Who?
Like, why are you here?
What are you doing here? And you're like, huh?
And they're so confused.
And they're so confused. And that's the way to have it.
Ice.
Because then they're like,
and then you're in the power
loose,
position.
and then just always in the power position. And then, if there's a spark, there's a spark.
Got it.
That's the thing too, is in the just having fun, I think another question that it was kind of intertwined with what I just asked you was a lot of people saying like, well, what if I go up and I initiate something with someone and they reject me? I feel like for you,
I kind of laugh it off.
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever. Like they don't get my humor. They don't get me. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't be a match anyway. I don't take it personally.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, okay, bye-bye.
And
what's next?
Instead of sitting then in that like rejection, what I've then witnessed is when you then jump and you go, oh, they're lost, not for me. The night takes a different turn, because I remember before Evan and I were married, when I was single and I'd have those moments where all of a sudden I would like put myself out there and I'd get rejected. It was like I would cave in on myself. And the next few days just was a spiral. And I was like thinking about like, why was I not good enough for that person? And then I've wasted numerous days on someone who doesn't like me, who I don't care about, who's not the person for me. And what I've seen with you is when you just go, they're a loss, and you just throw it behind your shoulder, then I watch you within 5 minutes
meet a hotter guy.
Like
10 out of 10.
Or even just then have a great night with friends.
Oh,
and you're just
too.
like, screw it. Like, we're just having a good laugh and a good time. And we're meeting some amazing women in the bathroom, and we're going and hanging out with them after.
So would you say that the solution is no pressure?
No pressure. And honestly, other people's opinions of me is none of my business. It's kind of my like mantra. where I'm like, I don't care what you think. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going out with all my girlfriends. If that's all we do, that's like the night, you know, like we're having a good time. And if we meet a boy or two or whatever, then that's fun, but that doesn't make our night out.
Yeah, I think the idea where I know, again, when I was single, that I used to be like hyper focused on was like, my night is, I was guilty of this. I was like, my night is going to be focused on meeting someone that I can maybe date. And I lost a lot of good days and nights on that, instead of just being like, I'm here with my amazing friends or meeting new amazing friends out, and we're going to have a blast. And if I end up bumping into someone and wanting to wave to them, well, cool.
Totally.
But
and
we're
don't
going to
get
have a
me
great
wrong.
time.
There were plenty of nights where me and my girlfriends are going out with a bow and arrow. Like, we are literally on the hunt.
Who's the target tonight?
Literally, like, pow, you know? Like, don't get me wrong. But I think as I've gotten older, it's just more about, like, the relationships with your friends and nurturing that. And when you show confidence and kind of a more, like, carefree attitude, it's going to attract more people that want to be around that energy.
Yeah.
And you can decide like yes or no if that fits with what I'm looking for.
Another thing about you is I do feel like, though there's the part that you go in without the expectation to have a good time, there's also a level of planning that you do sometimes put into it that's like, okay, if I do happen to bump into someone that I like, what's an easy way to start a fun conversation? You are, in my opinion, kind of an expert at this, because the woman is creative with her ways of starting up a conversation to break the ice of, hey, I think you're cute. And one of these ways that she just mentioned to me, well, so Evan is going to be working with some artists at Stagecoach in 2 days.
Yeah.
In 2 days. And we are joining Evan. So
excited.
before we started recording this, Katie found a stack of old Valentines from Ember's Craft Box. She brought them.
I had to. They need a visual.
I love it.
If you're not watching the YouTube.
Truthfully, though, where did these come from?
I have no idea.
We blinked and they were out of the craft drawer.
Yeah, and Ember had Valentines everywhere, her old Valentines. And all of a sudden, Katie looked at them and saw these Valentines options. And she's like, I'm going to use these for potential dates at Stagecoach. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Shall I explain?
Please.
So each of these little Valentines have little notes on them, as Valentines do. This one that stuck out to me, though, was "You, I like you."
They're all Star Wars, by
They're
the
all
way.
Star Wars, which I never watch. So I have no
She's
idea.
never seen it. Another thing she's never seen.
I've like seen them once. Like I learned at 25 that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's
Oh my
dad.
God, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Lee, cut that out because I do not want the fans to be mad at me. So all these Valentines. So what I'm going to do is in the "You, I like you," I'm going to write my number down and my name, because who knows if I've said my name at that point. The other ones that are like, "Wait for me, Valentine," or "Valentine, you're out of this world," I'm going to write, "Aw, play again." And so I'm literally going to put it into the fate of the gods and my master, like, you know, craftsmanship, depending on if I really want to give them my number. I will give them, "Aw, play again."
Play
Like,
again, or like, oh, like, thanks for playing.
more like thanks for
playing
playing.
again means like I get another shot.
Okay, thanks for the copyright. So maybe I just put, "Aw, maybe next time."
Right. Okay, I got it.
Like the pressure's off me and it's
You're not rejecting them.
You
Fate
picked
did.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
magic didn't work in your favor this time.
So you're going to fan the cards out.
So I'll fan the cards out and they'll pick. And if it's someone I really like, I'll either put all three with my number.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I'm making fate work in my favor.
Yeah, of course.
And
of course.
a great quote is, "The cards might always be, I might always play," scratch that. I can't remember. It's something about like, I might not always get the right hand, but the cards always work in my favor.
Got it.
So that's the gist.
I like it.
I'm like, Lee, come on. So if I like them, we'll get 3 of these of my numbers. If we don't, all of these. And if we're like, let's actually see what fate has to say.
Yeah.
We'll mix it in. We're like, I actually don't know. So we'll see if, the gods want this to happen.
Right.
And
so then you'll just go up to random guys at Stagecoach that you might think are cute or that you've talked to for like a minute or two, fan out the cards.
And I'll be like, let's see where the night can take us.
It's a fantastic idea.
It's a fantastic idea. And it takes, I think another thing
It's funny.
It's so funny.
But I think what's very interesting about this from someone who could think less like this, like my brain is so not this way, is to go into a night of like partying or fun or just socializing with a little bit of a strategy, which is something you guys do, and it always becomes effective. Like,
which just taught me that, by the way.
So both of them will kind of just have slight strategies for the evening. So if like, oh, we're going to go to this birthday party and we know that these 10 people are going to be there. Mm-hmm. So instead of just showing up to the party, chilling, whatever happens, there's always a slight angle of like, oh, I do know that I've always wanted to meet them, or I feel like we'd be close friends. So I'm just going to be a little more aware about these points, or a little bit more aware about the fact that, we would connect over this. And then every single time these guys come back from something, they connected with those people. Now they're hanging out with them. There's a relationship there, or they wanted an opportunity. They got the opportunity. And I think from an outsider's perspective, it really shows the value of having a little bit of social strategy.
Yes, because or else I can get in my head. One of the last times Katie and I were out, there was a specific woman that I wanted to meet. And I'm like, think she's so talented and amazing. I'm like, I want to like get connected with her. And so I knew she was going to be at this event. So what I did ahead of time is I made a reservation later in the evening for more people than just me and Katie out. So I'm like, okay, if we do connect, then we have somewhere to go after. Like, hey guys, we're going to this restaurant afterwards to get some late night snacks. Like, do you want to come? And that can work out sometimes.
Genius.
So you just have a little bit of a plan and you kind of put that in motion of, like we were saying before, where it's like you go in and have fun, but there's also the idea of, you can go in with a little bit of an idea of how you want the night to go. Like you can kind of create it before or create it ahead of time.
Right.
It's like bowling with bumpers.
That's
interesting.
And I'm a bowler.
She's a big bowler.
You can go bowling without the bumpers and have a good time, but you're going to introduce
risky.
a lot of risk. But if you put the bumpers on, a little bit of thought beforehand, you can create a much more enjoyable experience.
1,000%. That's why I love a million reservations. When we go out, I make like 12
queen.
reservations. And if there's a place that we're not vibing with and we're like, the energy here is just a little low, we have a spot that we can go to right afterwards and we can bounce around. But with these Valentine's cards,
Ember's a genius for whipping these out.
She pulled them out and Katie knew. And so I know when we're going to be at Stagecoach and she's going to be fanning out these cards for certain guys that she thinks are cute, it's going to be, first of all, if nothing comes of it, we're all dying laughing the entire time. Because we're going to be watching Katie going up to random guys, fanning them out, being like, pick a card, let fate decide. And they're like, what the hell is going on?
Like, worst case scenario, it's a hilarious time. Best case, you meet your husband. I mean, like you know what I'm saying? It's like
100%. Like, we're laughing. Or, maybe I fell in love.
Exactly.
Who knows?
The woman's been known to bust out a cootie catcher that she's made, those little things where she's written numbers on it and gone up to random guys at a bar and been like, pick a number. And the conversations are so funny that come from it. And a lot of times it's just funny conversations, but it does create something that I think when people are asking like, hey, I don't really know how to start this, you might hear it and go, oh my God, that feels bold.
Like, loser.
That's embarrassing.
Right.
And you know what? It is a little bit. And we have so much fun doing it. When you're able to just be like,
100%.
who cares? Like, I'm just having fun and we're going to get a good laugh out of it. And the right person thinks that that's fun.
It's fascinating because I think that like, if you're single and you're thinking about talking to someone, it can be really scary.
Of course.
Totally.
But what's interesting is like, it's so not scary if you just look at it from like the basic element of like, if you saw someone do it, you wouldn't be like, that was insane. Or if your friend went and talked to a guy, you wouldn't be like, that was insane. But when you do it, it's like, oh, my whole identity's wrapped up into this. And I think the message I'm getting from this is like, don't wrap your identity into it.
Totally.
Like, don't wrap your whole soul into this just moment of talking to some random person. Like, make it meaningless almost, to where you're just having fun and your focus is fun. And then what you said was, which was the positive energy will attract. I couldn't agree more. If I was single in a bar and I was hanging out with one or two friends and I saw a group of girls that were just having fun, that would be so much more attractive and enticing to me to like want to try and talk to you guys than if it was like kind of intense and kind of serious and I'm trying to kind of like, talk to you really, or you're trying to like talk to me and it's like now we have to force this conversation. But if it's just fun's going on in the room, then even all your friends are involved and then your friends are talking to their friends and like those kind of things happen. It's
just enjoying your time that you're sitting in. I know for myself, obviously not single, but then being around
exactly. Since when, guys?
I was like, wait, are you guys married? Is this a thing? Since when? Yikes.
That's going to really change the dynamic.
Yeah. I'm like, what's this weekend going to be like?
But like for myself, just being your friend, when I observed you doing that when you were, interested in potentially getting to know someone on a romantic level, seeing that from you helped me. Now, what you all might not know is that Katie and I met maybe 6 or 7 months before Chatty Broad started. And the only reason that I had the courage to go up to Becca, who I didn't know very well, and just say, hey, you know what? I've got this wild hair. Would you ever be interested in starting a podcast? I've never done one, and I know that I don't have, any followers or notoriety, but my husband's got a studio in the back, and I feel like we have great conversation when we're together. I never would have done that before because I was way too in my head about like, what's someone going to think of me? Am I going to seem embarrassing to this person? And I would get so caught up in this idea of like how I would appear or come off that I just didn't have that bravery. But then you and I started hanging out for like 6-7 months, and I would watch you when you were out where you just were like, this is me. I'm amazing. I saw you be amazing. You'd make me feel amazing with that energy that all of a sudden when it came to business, I was like, I'm taking that energy that Katie puts that I see when we're out, when she's meeting guys, and I'm putting that into business. And because of that, I felt the courage where I normally would have been way too shy to ever bring that up to Becca. And she said yes. And then all of a sudden, I have a whole new career path. And there's 4 years of Chatty Broads.
And worst case, she just said, oh, you know what? I'm not interested.
And worst case, she goes, you know what? Yeah, maybe, or I think I might go in a different direction. And what that taught me is I kept watching you, and then I've continued to try to do that as I continue in business and just go, you know what? I shoot my shot with guests. When I go to Bachelor events, I go to people and I feel really, really nervous because I'm like, I don't know this person, and maybe they heard me talk and maybe I said some weird shit about them, but I just go up and I go, hey, I don't know if you've heard me before, but I've talked about you on my podcast and I thought you were great in this way, or sorry if you heard that about, what I said about you in this way. And I will tell you, yeah, sure, sometimes it flops, but a lot of times it ends up going really well when you're just true to yourself, And it sounds so corny, but it's so true.
It's so true. Yeah. And not being, which I think you're giving me a little too much credit.
I'm not, trust me. Evan knows. He saw my life change as soon as we started.
I don't believe it, but because I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
And a confident queen. But I think a lot of people just get in their heads about things, and it's like, it really, in the grand scheme of life, and maybe that is because I've suffered from, I don't want to say suffered, but like just had hardships, which, everyone has. But like the grand hardships in life, those are tough, right? Mm-hmm. Going up to someone and being like, hey, let's start a podcast. If they say no, like whatever. Mm-hmm. Like it really, in comparison, does not matter. So maybe that's where my little like aloof way of being like, yeah, I'm going to put myself out there because it, in the end of the day, does not matter.
I love that. That's actually really good to remember.
It's very good to remember.
Yeah, like just have fun and don't take yourself too seriously.
And there was a lot of messages too. Another common question was, when I want to go out on the town, when I want to meet people, what do I do if I don't have that confidence?
There's been 100 times where Jess has come over and I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I think the biggest thing is just like believing in your own value.
Yeah.
And that you deserve the world. And people who respond that way are people who see that you deserve the world. And if they don't, then they don't see your value as you do. And you just need to kick them to the curb.
I always had this picture in my mind a little bit of like, you know, when people are like, oh, like, you know, there can be such a thing as too high of standards. And then I met Katie. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Like, you know what your worth is.
But what's interesting too, just to add to this, is that like when I observe Katie over the years is like she has high standards, but they're not like high in the way that like you better have this, and this.
No.
It's almost like a character thing or like a personality thing because you've dated all different types of people.
Yes.
You've dated the like guy who's got the degrees and the looks, and you've dated the guy that doesn't have all that at the same level.
Yeah.
Because you're at, you know what I'm saying? And I think what's cool.
Like I lived it.
More what I'm saying
More
is
compliments.
like I saw the light fade from her eyes as I was saying that.
Like talk about kicking a girl when she's down.
No, but what I'm saying is like
Where's the compliment?
the compliment is in the fact where is it in here? It's got to be somewhere in there.
Searching.
No, what I'm getting to is like she doesn't you have a standard and you have stuff you want, but you're also willing to like look past maybe what you normally have on paper.
Yes.
To find personality and find a spark. To find something, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not like, if you don't match this exact criteria, you're out. You have this criteria in your head, but then at the same time, you're willing to be open.
Yeah.
And I think that's more what I've seen is like you have a high standard because you respect yourself, but you're also willing to look past certain things that you normally would be on paper to see something special in someone. And I think that's, you know, because people can get really caught up in like lists. If
Yes.
you don't match these things, then you're out, you know, and they can miss gems.
What are your thoughts on the lists?
I'm not saying I don't have a list, but I think when I meet somebody, it's 100% energy.
Yeah.
And like, do we vibe? And so some of the things I'm like, what's negotiable and what's not? Mm-hmm. But I think now I've gone through some breakups where I'm like, oh, this needs to be a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the list needs to be your like 10 qualities of what you require. And then like the rest is fluid, I guess.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, based on some of my recent breakups, I'm like, there's definitely a list.
Yeah, right.
Like, yikes. We have some things that were written in permanent Sharpie marker.
Yeah, right. Double
At
underlined.
Sharpie.
At Sharpie. Just Sharpie the sponsor. Just to get Sharpie. Is Sharpie listening? I'm like, of all the things
If anyone could get us a sponsor, it'd be Katie. She'd just be like, I'm just putting it out there.
Sharpie, 2 B's.
Yeah.
2 E's.
2 B's.
2 E's, I meant.
I have a question for. Oh, yeah. No, keep going. What were you going to say?
No, that was kind of it. That just like, for me, it's all vibe.
Yeah.
And attraction. Like, is that instant spark? That's why, honestly, I'm not on dating apps because I know immediately if we will vibe or not when I meet somebody in person. Like, I can talk to somebody all day long and be like, oh, yeah, they're cool. And then I meet them in person. I'm like, it's a no.
So she is the example of Love is Blind not working. Love is Blind would not be the show for her.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Because that's what that show is that people are like talking in these, you know. By the way, yeah, she doesn't know any of this, but like people.
I did watch season 1.
Okay, so you've
and
seen
I
this.
did have
Okay.
somebody that I knew that I went to college with on this last season, but I haven't watched it
shit.
yet.
Okay. So
I
maybe
won't name names,
Won't name
but I
names.
did go to the Ohio State University.
Hint.
Hint. Tea being dropped. DM the bad mom.
That's just the go-to at Sharpie.
I know. DM at Sharpie.
Collab with at
Honestly,
the bad mom.
At Sharpie, at the bad mom, at Tripper Sounds.
Oh, okay, but off what you were saying about not. So if dating apps are not your thing,
Yeah.
Another very common question that we were getting from the family was, how do you meet people if it's not on dating apps? Because obviously dating apps really do work for a lot of people. I'm like, my dad and my stepmom, they met on a dating app. God bless. They're very much in love. I know so many people who it works out for, but some people like yourself, it just doesn't work.
It's not my vibe.
Yeah. So what about the people who don't want to do the dating apps, or they want to try something other than the dating apps? What are your thoughts on meeting people out and about? Because one specific question we got is, someone was like, I'm from a small town, which I know you originally are from as well.
Yes.
How do you feel like, where do you meet people?
Yeah. So it depends on what your interests are, right? Like if you like to go out and you have a good group of girls, or even, one girl. Like, it's me and Jess normally hitting the town, but just like someone that'll go out with you and can be a good wing woman, just like where your interests are, I guess. Like, are you in book club? Are you in a runner's club? Are you like even in the grocery store?
Yeah, the grocery store kind of is a hot spot, huh?
I've had a lot of people actually come on to me in a grocery store.
Yeah. If you got the energy walking in, you know.
I just feel like you have to be out. You can't just be in your home.
Yeah.
So like whatever your interests are, like go and do that. Whether that's like going on a walk, going to a restaurant by yourself. I don't know, joining a club. I don't know any clubs.
I like that too,
or like volunteering. I do a lot of volunteering.
A lot of volunteering, and you meet people that way.
Yeah.
And good
like,
people.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
So or church.
Yeah.
Like whatever your interests are, I feel like you just have to be out and open.
I think that's huge, because you can sit, and I'm not like, obviously dating apps are massively successful, but I could see for myself even like sitting on my couch talking to 10 people.
Yeah.
And you're not really like, you're just kind of talking, but you're not really like
connecting.
Blood isn't moving. You're not out and moving and feeling the energy of something. But if you meet someone out and you're in it, you're immediately connecting with the vibe. You're immediately not having to go through a month of texts and a month of DMs and a month of, but you're already just within 5 minutes, yes or no, there's a vibe. And I feel like that is, and then also there's like an energy to your relationship. You met in a place where there's movement, and I don't know. I do think that could, fast track you quicker into a moment.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Okay, family, one more quick pause. So here's the thing. My name is Jess, and I struggle in the kitchen. I struggle in the grocery store not knowing what to buy for recipes, and I struggle actually producing said recipes in the kitchen. But with HelloFresh, I am a literal chef. At least I feel that way, because HelloFresh makes it so easy for me to make delicious meals so simply and so quickly.
HelloFresh takes the hassle out of the mealtime this spring by delivering pre-portioned ingredients and easy to prepare recipes right to your door. Skip the checkout lines and get outside in the warmer weather, because HelloFresh has dinner covered. They have 40 recipes and over 100 seasonal and convenience items to choose from each week, including options for everyone and every lifestyle. We love their quick and easy meals, like their fast and fresh pineapple chicken tacos or falafel power bowls, ready in 15 minutes or less. And HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery stores and 25% cheaper than takeout.
Oh my gosh, the falafel bowls are amazing.
So good.
And by the way, good food is too precious to waste. Their pre-portioned ingredients cut down on your food waste by at least 23% compared to grocery shopping, which is good for your wallet and the planet. On top of it all, HelloFresh meals have a 31% lower carbon footprint than the same meals made from supermarket ingredients, and nearly all HelloFresh packaging materials are curbside recyclable in most areas of the U.S.
Go to HelloFresh.com/MomDad50 and use code MomDad50 for 50% off. Plus, your first box ships free. That's HelloFresh.com/MomDad50 and use code MomDad50 for 50% off. Plus, your first box ships free. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
So we all know that Evan is in his water drinking era now.
Oh, things are different now.
He is hydrated. He is glowing. But the reason he started drinking water was honestly because we got an AquaTrue. This thing is amazing. AquaTrue purifiers use a 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, and their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing. It removes 15 times more contaminants than ordinary pitcher filters. They even have a Wi-Fi connected purifier and mineral boost options. Okay, this thing is incredible.
No joke, you guys. This actually is what got me into drinking
It's
water.
what got him into drinking water.
I saw the thing and I was like, I got to use this thing.
He loves it.
It's true. Because of AquaTrue, I'm now drinking purified water on the regular. It's the same technology used by all the major bottled water brands, but now it's available for your home and without the plastic waste. And filters are affordable and long-lasting. No changing filters every 2 to 3 months. AquaTrue filters last from 6 months to 2 years.
It's even portable, which makes it perfect for renters or college dorms, and it looks chic. The water tastes fantastic. And by the way, in addition to drinking water, you can use it for your coffee, your tea, and all your cooking needs, from boiling pasta or veggies to making soup. We can also give it to our pups now, which we love. We really are all drinking way more water now because of our AquaTrue. It's a new era, baby.
AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and even makes a great gift. Today, our listeners receive 20% off any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com. That's AQUATRU.com and enter code MOMDAD at checkout. That's 20% off any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com and use code MOMDAD.
Well, when you get on these dates, or even when you're meeting someone in person and having your like first initial conversation with them, one of the questions was, what are some good questions to ask? I feel like when I see you out, especially when you first meet someone, number one, you have a plan a lot of times, which I do feel like, again, is a great go-to of like,
Well,
if
it's
you
a
have
comfort blanket.
Yeah,
a
if
little
you
bit.
have something
Yeah.
planned, literally if you go on a first date and you have like in like the back of your head a few questions that you've prepared, just that are kind of fun icebreaker questions, that's helpful. Like, what are some questions that you have off the top?
Okay, so some intense ones. I'll be like, what's your relationship like with your mom?
Whoa.
I have heard this woman in a loud bar go up to someone, first question, ask that. And I have watched her talk. You guys, I've watched a man break down in front of her at a bar, and it's like an hour-long conversation because she's like, what's your relationship like with your parents?
Is there a right answer?
Not necessarily. I think it's more so how they answer it.
Got it.
Because it shows vulnerability right off the back. Like, are you going to respond? Like, how are you going to respond? I've had people get real mad.
Like,
And
don't
they're
act. That's not your business.
Why would you ask me that? And I'm like, I don't know. You came up to me.
It turns out you went up to him. You waved at him earlier.
Yeah, I like waved him over. I was like, tell me about your mom. And he's like, what? I'm like, I don't know. You asked me that.
And you're like, defensiveness? Red flag?
So I actually do have that too, where I like pretend to take notes when they talk. And that's actually really funny. And then I give them they're like, can I have your number? I'm like, if I didn't like them, I'm like,
Yeah.
And then I just like give them a card, and it's like,
It's like a
D
library.
plus.
Yeah. Oh.
it's like a
No,
grade.
she takes a napkin and asks the bartender for a pen and will write a report on the napkin and hand it to the person.
Insane.
And I'm like, he said that? It's all about having fun. Like,
Sure,
at the end of the day,
sure.
it really is just having fun. And the person that, like, any guys that I've actually gone out with or like have formed relationships with think that it's really fun and funny and lighthearted. And that's the kind of guy that personally I'm after.
Yeah.
That can just like enjoy life. Take a joke, not take themselves too
And
seriously.
it also does really show when someone might have some deep-seated stuff, because sometimes when I see Katie be playful, you will see all of a sudden someone,
turned.
Okay, that is not the energy that
That's a good sign to
I
get outta
want
here.
in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they can answer it calmly and be like, it's good or bad, you're like, okay, that's actually good intel.
Or they can be funny and quippy and rip back.
Yes.
And okay, I like that. Yeah, right. But if they're like, don't ask me about my mom.
Yeah.
then it's
Most
like,
of the time they're
geez.
like, I can't wait for you to meet her. And I'm like, let's book the ticket.
That's a good line.
Yeah,
That's
that actually
good
is
line.
a really good, and it's playful and fun, and it's
Yeah.
like taking what could be a very serious
Right.
question, lighthearted, and then that's also like, I'm like, okay, I like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
My whole thing is just like be fun and carefree.
But then I've also
first.
seen you in more recent years really like on a first date ask all the important questions off the top, which I feel like typically you read a dating suggestion book and they're like, start here and then make your way here. And you're a little bit like, I don't want to waste my time. So I'm going to ask this person literally first date all of my questions. And if they're intimidated by it, bye.
100%.
I mean,
and that comes also with experience and also being 26 and just knowing to not waste your time.
yeah.
And I'm also like, if I'm on a date with you, I'm not out with my friends. So like, if I'm going to be out with you, then like it needs to be worth it. So I'll get down to it where I'm like, okay, we'll talk about religion, politics, all the things like what you might have issues with. And I'm just like, here it is. And you tell me if those are issues. And if they are, like, wish you well. But I'm not wasting my time anymore. And my whole thing too nowadays is just like not getting attached to people that don't deserve it. Because it's like you meet somebody and their whole intent is to match your energy. Like if they're into you, they will do whatever it is to match what they think your expectation is. So I'm in what I like to call with men observation season. And they're like, well, what are you looking for? Like, what is it? I'm like, you just act like you would act and how you would treat a woman. And I'll let you know if that aligns with what I'm looking for.
I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah. Because that's what I've always done in the past where I've been very vocal in the beginning about these are my expectations. And of course, a man's going to be like, oh, I'm going to jump through this hoop and that hoop to be with you and like get you to be my girlfriend and prove to you I'm this guy. But they can't sustain it.
Yeah, cut to 6 months later and it looks very different.
But then you're already attached and you already have feelings and you're in love and you're like, oh, well, he's being that way because of X, Y, and Z. So now I'm a little bit more cutthroat in a way where I'm just not accepting excuses anymore. Where I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm looking for. You act as you would. And if it aligns with what I'm looking for, I'll let you know. So observation season.
Which is a no pressure season.
Yeah, no, 100. And that's the thing where it's like, I'm not allowing myself to catch feelings. So it genuinely is like, no, like you call me when you want to call me, text me when you want to text me. And
we'll see how it goes when I don't put pressure on you. Or like, you meet someone, let's say you meet someone at Stagecoach. And
by the way, everybody, lots of Bachelor people at Stagecoach.
I'm like, well,
I've already had my eye on a few that I feel like Katie might like.
Oh my
See you in
God.
paradise.
See you in paradise, baby.
You just wait.
I could see it. I mean, you gotta just try out. I mean, you gotta just audition. Just audition. Worst case scenario, you can turn it down. Even if they give it to you, you can still turn it down.
That's true.
But it would be fun to
That's
audition
devastating.
and just see if it's like if you get to the finish line and you could decide. But that would be fun.
Maybe let's do it this weekend. Will like convince me.
Okay.
I feel like with you guys and Katie, you might
we're
going to
also be going with Katie Thurston. Yes.
I'm on the ladies' trip. You know what I mean?
He finally gets to go on a trip with us after 6 years and he's working.
He's working. But no, with all of us out there, I like I
just
said,
say, I'll take care of it. You guys
He's
have
like,
fun.
he's our driver.
Yeah.
he always is. Bless him.
Real quick.
God bless.
Before we continue, I used to be a part of the party, okay? You always used to party together. Then somehow I got kicked out. I was kind of like at the center of bringing these things together. And then at some point, I got ousted. And then you guys are like, one day you can hang with me. And I'm like, what
Honestly,
the fuck
Evan,
happened?
I know exactly when it happened.
Can you tell me?
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
This is actually fascinating.
I know. I'm like, when did it happen?
Omar's birthday. When her and I like actually, no, I'm being dead serious. When her and I actually,
The first night we met.
What the hell?
like the first night we properly met, because I had met you guys like in passing, like
No, but
Yeah, it was
I'm
like
saying
random
we
parties
had
and stuff.
many nights together, all three of us with a bunch of people.
Because I would text Jess and be like, hey, this is what we're doing tonight. Because so the problem was that you guys lived farther and I was legit 5 minutes from where the party was always happening.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I was single and like when I first moved here, I didn't have a job.
Right.
So I was like always available.
Right.
Lee, don't judge me on that. I'm a businesswoman now, but when I first moved here, I did not have a job and no appendix. I got that done right away.
And now you have both.
Well, not the
You
appendix.
didn't get a new one.
She's like, most people get appendix removes. I added an appendix.
I have 3 appendix.
Full of surprises.
I know. That's biology. But no, literally. So I
Ever heard of it?
was like, I got my appendix done when I moved here.
Yeah, most people get like, they're like a facelift. I got my
Lip
appendix done.
I was like, appendicitis.
You're like, give me a what? Delete the appendix.
Yeah, just like get rid of her.
She's toxic.
Killing my vibe.
She's toxic.
Yeah, she was.
Quite literally.
Literally toxic. But honest to God, so I got her number and I would invite her and she was like, no one's inviting us or whatever because you guys had all the things going on. And I was literally every single time we did anything, I stepped foot out of my door and I was like, just so you know, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I invited her to everything. So then you guys
Everything.
started coming like together and then slowly but surely my plan worked. And her and I became closer and I was like, let's go to San Diego.
Yeah, because I'm thinking to myself, how this all started was me being like,
I don't remember that.
exactly. The way it started was like me
no.
bringing Jess to all these parties and all these things. And then all of a sudden,
Because we didn't really know you.
I'm not even, what do you mean?
Like, I remember meeting you guys like in passing at like a Christmas party at a bar.
Right.
Like,
But I'm saying
before
I was
we
the
sat down and
connect
talked.
to people and friends that I brought her
Yeah,
into.
because it was we
Totally.
were all like music friends.
Because it was in the music
You
world.
and I were never in music.
I'm like, la 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 la.
Yeah. So my
I
world
could
was
be.
always like, that's that confidence.
Could be if I wanted to be.
But long story short here, what I've been trying to get to
Tell us.
is that for the longest time, your dad was like the party guy out and about. And I was like, babe, let's go to this thing. And then one day I woke up and I'm at home watching the kid and dogs and they're out partying and I do not know what happened. It was like,
Well, that was our
I got,
master
yeah, I got bamboozled hard. Unbelievable.
Some people call it cat-toozled.
Yeah. No one's ever called it that, Katie, okay?
They're like, oh, that was a cat-toozle. Well, they will now.
They will.
You just wait.
Unbelievable.
Stagecoach, they'll be like, you just got cat-toozled.
Unbelievable.
I know she's gonna take your job at Stagecoach. She's just gonna walk by.
And we'll be like,
Some of
"What?"
the artists
They're
will be like, "Oh,
"There's
just give her
a better vibe here." And I'm
We just like her
"Sick."
energy better. Let's just give her
I'm
his
like, she
job.
doesn't know what I do though. And she's like, it doesn't matter. Like the energy's vibing. I'm like, oh fuck.
Like, I get it.
She waved at us, honestly. You can just wave at the guys I work with and they'll fire me in 2 seconds.
I was like, cut him.
Just give him the wave.
Honestly, dump him. That's my advice to everyone. Dump him. If you're thinking about it, dump him.
I was gonna say, I'm like, there are a lot of questions here. One, for instance, should I reach out to a guy who ghosted me and give it a second try?
No.
You say, no way.
Because I full-heartedly believe if he wanted to text you, he would. If he wanted to call you, he would.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just am like, nah,
Just not
he's
worth
not
your
worth my
time.
time.
Yeah.
I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Now, if you've been like talking for months and months and months
Mm-hmm.
and going on dates and then nothing, like I would say check in a few times and be like, hey, is everything okay? But after that,
On
because
to
if
the
it's
next.
if that's a red flag to start,
Yeah, of course.
that's going to be a red flag later. They say the red flags in the beginning are why you break up in the end. And it's so true. I look at
Oh,
every
interesting.
relationship and I'm like, yup. Everything that you make excuses for is what ends up being your problems in the end.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, because there were a lot of questions asking like thoughts on, sending a second text when the person hasn't texted back the first time.
Different. Second
Yeah.
texts are different. And I'm not against them because I actually, believe it or not, when I'm actually into somebody, I do not play games. I'm very straightforward. And my whole thing again is back to energy. Like, have we been texting every day and talking on the phone every day for 3 months and then all of a sudden he's no longer to be heard from? That's different than like, oh, we went on one date and then I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
Because like the 3 month thing, I'm like, maybe reach out and just make sure everything's cool. Like he's not like physically like something happened.
Yes.
Like no joke, when my appendix did burst, Lee, you're like trying to make fun of me for it. Rude. I went off the grid for a week.
It's true. And no one could find you.
And no one could find me. And they were like, are you okay? And I was like, oh no, I was actually getting like major surgery.
Yeah.
So it's like those rare things can happen. That's the exception. It's not the rule.
Yeah.
But like if you go on a date with somebody and they don't respond,
Their appendix might have burst.
well, then they'll reach out when they're done.
Right.
You know?
But in general, yeah, after one date, if they don't reach out, then
I would just say read the writing on the wall.
will you ask someone on a date?
So not on a date, but I will be like, oh my gosh. Well, actually a thing in college, what I would do a lot of the times, I'd be like, oh my God, we should totally go on a date. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, let's go right now. And then I would take them to like Cane's or Taco Bell or something. I'd be hungry. And then I would sit there with them and have a date and be like, this was super fun.
That's like actually that's an exciting moment.
It's very exciting.
So I like that though. That's a good move because it makes the night memorable.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's like, yo, I got this girl's number. It was sweet. I'm going to hit her up in a day or two so I don't seem desperate. Or what, the games can start.
Yeah.
But if it goes right there, like we're leaving the bar right now, that makes for a very memorable experience.
Like, let's go to Swingers.
Oh, yeah.
Open till like what, 3, 4 a.m.
See, that's a great idea.
It was late night. Yeah. And like you said, you always remember it. Like, even if it doesn't work out, even if that's the only place that it goes, you'll always remember that night.
Yeah, I like the idea of just trying a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. I think that is interesting to me as someone who's like listening to this conversation. Is like just the ability to also not be taken too seriously, and also just try a bunch of stuff and just like see what works, see what doesn't. That was exciting. That was a dud. That didn't work. That strategy didn't work. That wasn't fun. That was really fun. And just not taking it all too seriously in that way. I find that interesting.
Oh, totally.
Because you do that in so many different other parts of your life.
Yeah.
Just try things.
I feel like it's savoring every moment in life where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to get caught up in if this didn't work out the exact way that I wanted it to or not, or if this person didn't ask me out the way that I wanted them to. I'm just going to be like, hey, let's go on a date right now.
Right.
And if they go, no way, then you're like, okay, bye. I'm going to go get Cane's by myself and I'm going to go sit in front of my TV and enjoy some Bravo and never think about them again. Or we'll have a funny, great first date at Del Taco moment.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just people in general are so fearful of rejection and that narrative needs to change.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, rejection's fine. You don't have to be, you could be what's the quote? The ripest, juiciest peach in the patch. And some people just don't like peaches. And that's okay. And that's literally my mantra.
I'm going to get that tattooed on my ass.
Along with, who said it? And it's like Katie in quotes.
Yeah, it just says dash Katie on your ass.
Katie.
I will say, guys, if she was to ever get a tattoo of a quote on her ass, it would be a Katie tattoo.
I've almost gotten Katie's name tattooed on me certain nights when we've been out. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I will do it at some point. I will get Katie tattooed on my
I'm like, you have 300 tattoos. Just get my name.
No, yeah, it would really mean something if you got a tattoo of her name because you don't have tattoos.
I know. I feel like I'd have to be like Harriet the Spy on the bottom of the foot or something.
Yeah, we'll do it one day.
Yeah.
We'll do it one day.
I'll be like crying like, whoa.
Okay, tips for dating after heartbreak.
Gosh, I know this a little too well.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to ask me this. Sorry. No, I would say I've been in some serious breakups, gone through serious breakups. My advice would be, at least for the first, and again, the timeline's different for everybody, depending on what was going on in your relationship, how traumatic the breakup was, blah, blah, blah. But I have always taken like a month of, I'm not really going out. Honestly, a lot of the times I go home to my mom.
Yeah.
And I'm just like home and letting her kind of take care of me, and I'm like making sure I'm like eating dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just really nurse the heartbreak. I journal. I listen to sad music. I cry. I go on walks where I'm just crying. I just like let it all out. And then when I come back to my reality, I'm like, okay, I'm okay. And I'm ready to put myself back out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the heartbreak I've seen you go through, you always do such an amazing job of like really keeping that sacred time for yourself after. You never rush yourself at all, and you always give yourself like a different amount of like allotted time while you're healing. And then when you get back in, you like dip your toe.
Yes.
You'll communicate with me where you're like, okay, the most I got right now is a dinner.
Yeah.
I can come over to your house. And then the next hang is, let's go out to dinner. And then let's go out to a comedy show and dinner. And you kind of like edge your way back in. And I don't feel like you rush yourself.
Yeah, I think that's time. Just like giving yourself the time to nurse what was lost. Because I feel like a lot of times with breakups, you're grieving a life you thought you were going to have.
Yeah.
At least in my experience.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, we're together. We're building this. We're building this life. We're working towards a common goal. And a breakup is like, oh, that life that I've been planning for the last X amount of time is no longer what I thought it was going to be, at least in my experience. And maybe I also need to change my thinking in that. But, you know, when you're with somebody and you're committed, you're building a future, and you're, especially at our age, 26, just
especially in our mid-20s.
especially when you're in your mid-20s, you're really, you know, you're just like, you're building towards common goals.
Yeah.
Whether that's like marriage, babies, house, you know, whatever that is for you.
Right.
So just like allowing yourself the freedom to feel what you need to feel. Grief isn't linear. I mean, you've seen that with me, where I'm like perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden something triggers you and you're like, oh wow, did not know I still had that in me. And just letting it out and just having grace for yourself, and just really, I don't know, feeling it, but not committing yourself to staying in that space. I'm always like, okay, I'm not going to be here for more than an hour or 2 hours or whatever it is, you know, like as you slowly, as the days pass after a breakup, don't get stuck in it, and don't get stuck in what could have been, because the reality is that's not what it is.
Yeah.
And that's most of the time you break up because that end goal would have never happened.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to let go of. Like I look at my last relationships where I'm like, oh, I'm crying because I thought we were going to like get married and have a family and blah, blah, blah. No, that would have never happened with this man.
Yeah.
And that's why we broke up. So I think it's just letting go of what you thought the end goal was going to be.
Yeah.
But you're still grieving that.
Well, and it's really powerful. And I know too, just being your friend, something I've seen you do is that I admire a lot is that whatever your grief might be about, when you, like you were saying, because grief isn't linear, you always do a really good job of communicating with me and our other friends, where you, again, not being fearful and getting stuck in your head, you put it out there and you let us know, hey, this is the space I'm in. So this is how much I can give right now. Instead of just like pushing it down and like hiding in a hole, I know I can like just not text anyone and go in a hole, and it doesn't help me at all.
Right.
You know, of course, sometimes you need that time alone, and you will do that. But I know for myself, and then I will have a hard time sometimes communicating to other people. But what you do is you put that out there, let us know, your friends know, you put out the siren so that we can be there for you as much as, you know, you need us to be or want us to be or whatever. And then we're also able to know, like, when we are going out or when we do come over, like what space you're in. So then you're not caught in a situation where you're like, this is making it worse, or I'm spiraling, or I don't feel safe communicating how I feel with my friends. Like we all know going in where you're at.
Totally.
You know?
But I also give credit to you and our like other close friends for creating that space. Because you know me, I'm not like someone that normally shares my feelings of like what's
private lady,
personally
sure.
going on. Like it is a lot for me to be like, hey, this is what's happening in my life. Like I'm very much like not that way.
Yeah, you're a private Scorpio.
Yes,
But you-
very private. But I appreciate our friendship where you've allowed that space to be like, hey, not texting back because X, Y, and Z is going on. And like you'll hear from me when you hear from me.
Yeah.
So I think it really is too just like creating those boundaries with people. And your good friends will understand. And those that don't, they're not supposed to be in your life.
Yeah.
And the people that I've actually been reading this book. What's the title?
Shout it out, link it.
I know.
At Sharpie.
At Sharpie, at Bad Mom, at Tripper Sounds, at Lee, who's private on Instagram. It's Healing Your Heart After Disappointment. And it's a quick read and it's like, it's very obvious, a lot of the stuff that they say in it. But like a big thing is like, why do I need this now? And it's like, you can have everything in your life, but why do I need it now? And so I'm just been giving myself the grace of patience to be like, I don't need all this stuff now. Like I can give my time to heal and pour myself into my friends or my family or my work. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be a relationship. And that's kind of my Zen mindset right now. Where I'm like, I'd much rather go to the zoo with Ember than like on a first date with a guy I'm not even into.
Yeah.
Because I like met him once at a bar and he asked me out.
And Ember would prefer that too.
And Ember's
she's
like,
very needy of your
Aunt
time.
Katie, we're going to run through the zoo. I'm going to show you every animal and I'm going to explain it all to you. And I'm like, cool. So I think I answered the question maybe.
You absolutely did.
Give
Yeah,
yourself
get out of
time
the park,
and love.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. All right. One more and then call home.
Perfect.
This one.
That laugh makes me nervous.
How do I tell my partner their feet smell?
Oh my God. Did our friend write that in?
That's actually a good one.
That's very true.
I feel like we could apply that to just how can I tell my partner
Something a
kind
truth.
of embarrassing or tough.
Yeah, that I'm having a rough go with, like you know,
breath. How about breath? All of a sudden, your breath just is gross.
Yeah, like you've been eating something and now it's like been really rough.
I feel like some of you won't struggle with this. Like I know some of you out there can just write to your partner, and be like, "Your fucking mouth is disgusting." But for those of you
like
who
newly dating, maybe newly dating,
but maybe in that
Yeah.
period of like, hey, everything about you is great, but those feet are just, I can't breathe, or your breath is brutal, or something like that.
Like 2 months in, like the top of the second month, like it's fresh.
If you lasted 2 months with bad breath,
or it
God
developed.
bless. Oh, if it developed.
Yeah,
The foot stench developed.
yeah,
I would say,
footstick developed.
like, yikes. We actually did have a friend that dealt with this.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
we did
Oh, bad stink.
a rough stench.
It was
And I know
bad.
this person.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
both of them.
Okay. Oh, the double stench. Okay,
Yeah.
understood.
Well, one had stench. one
Okay,
didn't.
got it,
But
got it.
anyway,
And the other friend would come to us and be like, "You guys, it's
What do
getting
I do?
really
What do
bad.
I
Like,
do?
I don't know what to do."
What
Yeah.
happens? I would say when you're approaching any situation where it's uncomfortable, just put yourself in their position. Like, how would you want to be spoken to?
Yeah.
Obviously, like with kindness and respect and out of love. And I feel like if you genuinely have those conversations, being honest and being kind, don't be drinking. Don't like
Be very sober.
Be sober. And just out of love and just be direct and be like, hey, my thing with problems, I always like to come with a solution. So to be like,
Yes.
hey, you have bad breath. Like maybe we brush our teeth after we eat dinner, or maybe it's
Together.
bad. Together. It's
I got
something
you
we
a
do together.
Listerine subscription.
Yeah, we're like, we have 30,000 strips of Listerine. Or just like, I don't know, just coming at a place with like, hey, this is a problem. I love you still, but like it needs to be fixed.
Right. like it's
all kindness.
Yeah,
all
it's not a
kindness and
huge
love.
deal, but like I got you Dr. Scholl's insoles that have a fragrance to it. Or
Breathability.
yeah, I'm gonna go Febreze all of their shoes and socks, like without them knowing, and then see if that works out. And then if it doesn't, then we can have a conversation about,
Yeah, I feel like me and you.
I was just gonna say, how would you tell Evan that?
But I feel like me and her, actually, this is a good advice because me and you don't generally like. I don't know. It's like we don't poop in front of each other. We don't fart in front of each
I
other.
would never do that.
No.
Ever.
But I'm saying
not
we
for
don't.
Katie.
No,
we
it
don't
is
do
not for
stuff
me.
like that in front of each other. So we technically could come across something that, you know what I'm saying?
Have you?
We're not. I'm trying to think if there has been something. I feel
there's
like there
been
has.
no, you know what? Yes, there's been a couple times where all of a sudden Evan will be like, your breath kind of smells, or like, what's that? You kind of, whatever.
He
And
says that to you. You're perfect. Leave the room now. She is perfect, and you do not say
By the way,
anything
Katie,
like that
you
to her.
used to be an ally, okay? I don't know what happened. That's another
When?
thing that happened. We used to be, you used to be like, pretty like, down. So I don't know what happened, but like,
Nope.
I'm not.
I don't know. I don't believe that.
No, I'm like, I've seen
I'm
Katie.
like-
Katie's always been on my side, and
Like, Jess
every
is perfect and literally hung the moon.
Hung the moon.
She did.
But
Look it up.
look it up. Who hung the moon?
You're like,
Encyclopedia Britannica.
it's on my Winky page.
Did you say winky?
It's on my
Do you mean
Winky.
wiki?
Isn't it Winky?
Wiki.
She's not on
Wikipedia.
Instagram or the internet.
Or on Winky, any of those websites.
I'm like, what is the internet?
Yeah, honestly, you're probably living your best life because of that.
No, but
I'm
you've
like-
said that to me a few times, and I'll be like, are you? And I'll be like, oh my God, that is
Yeah.
so rude. And then I'll run and like, brush my teeth or whatever. But I don't know.
I think for me at least,
He'll
what
kind
would
of
help,
laugh when he says
or
it.
just say it matter of fact. Like, don't say it in a way that you're like trying to. Because I almost feel like the more like you dance around it, the more it becomes an intense thing. But if you're like, babe, I love your breath kind of stinks a little bit, then all of a sudden it's just kind of over. As opposed to like if you were to be like, babe, you know what I mean, and get like awkward about it, then all of a sudden it feels like a bigger deal.
Yeah, he'll kind of laugh and say it. I mean, it hasn't happened very often, but every once in a while. And I'll be like, that is so rude. And then I immediately go and I brush my teeth and we kind of laugh about it. But we've, it's also too, it's
Been together
Like
forever.
17, 18 years.
37 years.
Yeah, exactly. 26 years.
I'm like,
As long as you've been alive, we've been together.
like literally, as long as I've been alive, you guys have been together. I am their child. Shh. I am their firstborn, not Aunt Katie.
I love
But
it.
I think because probably
me.
we've been already done. I think because we have been together for so long, it makes that a little smoother. Just
Yeah.
because you're like, okay, I've been with you
Yeah,
for so
yeah.
long. But I don't
Newly
know.
dating-
I like a fix though. I like what you were saying, a fix. Like if you would
Yeah.
have handed me a Listerine strip, I would have appreciated that more. I would have been like, oh, thanks for the solution.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm a
remember that.
You know what I mean?
solution-minded
Yeah,
kind
Just
of
like
gal.
pop a mint in my mouth if the coffee breath is bad.
Yeah. Be like, hey, you want some gum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they say no, be like, I think you should have some gum.
And be like, oh, I love gum. How come you don't like gum? Let's do gum.
Be like, fine,
And then,
Listerine.
and then when they say, I don't want gum, just be like, let's have a contest about who can blow the biggest bubble right now.
It becomes like an Ember
Let's chew
lesson.
about 12 pieces together and then see how big of a bubble you guys can blow. And then what comes with feet, you'll be like, hey, let's
yeah.
go get pedicures together.
Yeah, because I guess it's like, what's the cause of
The stench?
The stench.
Yeah.
What's the origin? Throw out those
Yeah.
old shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy them new shoes. Be like, oh my God.
Hey, here's a fresh pair.
some new Nikes.
Yeah. Genuinely, a pedicure might help.
Yeah.
Scrub off some of the mold.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Mold. Just sorry, I have mold.
Plug in at manicure.
At manicure at Sharpie. Okay. Should we do a call home?
Let's do
What's
a
a
call
call- wait,
home.
what's a call home?
Call
I don't
home is
know.
when the family. Oh yeah, I forgot you don't listen to this podcast.
Where am I? I thought we were having family dinner.
Lee?
Lee, can you
Ready?
explain to me what a call home is, please?
Well, we're just gonna jump right in.
Let's do it.
What? No.
It's-
Remember, you can always call home.
She knows the song?
I thought I did.
Hey, Jess and Evan. Huge fan of the new podcast. So I have a friendship dilemma that I would love to get your advice on.
Ooh.
So a few years ago, we were in college and my boyfriend and I set up two of our friends. We'll call them Amy and John. Amy was a bit younger than us, but she was kind of in my sorority, and John was somebody we knew from high school. Fast forward, they're together for about 4 years. This past January, John ended it, but my boyfriend and I made it super clear to both John and Amy that we still wanted to be friends with both of them. We wanted to be as supportive as possible. And Amy lives in a different city, so it's not that hard for us to keep the friendship separate. But anyways, a few weeks ago, she reached out suspecting that John is starting to hang out with a different girl kind of in our friend group, and she feels like they're really stabbing her in the back. I basically set the boundary that I didn't want to gossip about her ex to her, and she absolutely lost it. She was supposed to come and visit us for the weekend, just never showed up, didn't cancel. She kind of ghosted us for almost 2 weeks. And so I reached back out to kind of extend an olive branch and try and move past this. And she basically said that she needs to reevaluate our entire friendship. She's been a really close friend of mine for the past 6 years, and it feels like she's completely throwing our friendship away because I'm trying to stay friends with both her and her ex. I've been giving her some space, but I'm just not sure if I should continue to make the effort to keep this relationship, or if I should take her actions and words kind of at face value and let the friendship end. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
I'll let you go first.
The friendship drama is tough.
I think what's so good about this question
Yeah.
is that we've all had versions of this, which is like we care about someone, they don't get along with someone else that maybe let's say your friend had beef with them, you didn't have beef with them, so your experience has been nothing but peachy. They can't stand it because they've had beef, and you're like, well, this is tough here. Like, there's a loyalty thing at play. I like both of you. Life's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to blow this. I don't want to have to pick sides. Like, it's like a divorce, right? It's like if you were, it's totally. Like, how do you deal with that? That's a tough one.
I mean, my initial instinct is to say, I think you knew in your gut the way that you needed to handle it. And I think, like you said, you put up that boundary because you were good friends with, or are good friends with both of them, that you didn't want to dive into potential gossip. I don't know how much you know about quote unquote John and who the mutual friend he's seeing is, and how close of a friend that person was to Amy. That might make it a little sticky if that was a really good friend to Amy, but I guess that's between the two of them. I would say simultaneously remember that Amy is really hurting right now. And obviously she's feeling extreme heartbreak. I don't think you're the right person for her to put that frustration out on. But sometimes when you're hurting, the people you feel the safest with, unfortunately, will get the retribution of your anger and frustration and heartbreak, and you can put it on the people you feel safe with. So obviously she does feel safe with you. I would give it a minute to simmer. Even if she says our friendship is over and is a little explosive, if I was in your situation, I would probably say, hey, I hear you, but I want to let you know that I love you and I want to be here for you, and see if she comes back in a little bit, because I could see her. Obviously, if your intuition says no, I'm done. But friends are so important that I would say that let her, give her that moment, as hurtful as it is. And I'm really sorry you're going through it, but give her that moment, because I'm sure in a little bit she'll come back and be like, I'm sorry that I reacted the way I did, but I was really hurt. And just, yeah, that's my initial instinct in this situation. Mm. What do you think, Kate Ball?
No, I agree. I mean, clearly she's coming from a place of pain.
Yeah. And
you just kind of react. I would say agreed. Give her some time, and then maybe throw out, hey, why don't I come and visit you? Mm. And it's outside of her coming to maybe what would have been where she was coming with her boyfriend.
Yeah, the memories.
And it's you putting a clear effort into the friendship of I'm going to travel to see you. Let's have a good time. And hopefully at that point, enough time has passed.
That's a good idea. Extending that. And then if
Yeah.
she says no,
Then that's, you have your answer, and maybe it's just more time. I don't know. I've had girlfriends when they're going through a breakup, and they are nightmares.
yeah,
They are
sure.
absolute nightmares, but you love them through it.
Yeah. And that then, you have those moments. I think about when I was going through Evan and my breakup, I was a tornado of a human being to a lot of friends around me.
Yeah, because it's just all your emotions.
Yeah.
So I would say throw out a visit to her, and then if it doesn't work, you've done what you can do.
Agreed.
Me?
Yeah.
I think both of you guys had like amazing points. I like the idea of going out to her because it shows value without having to be like, I choose you over them, by the way.
Yeah.
I also I think sometimes like an offering of loyalty might be good too. Like if it's early on to be like, I'm going to stay away from the guy for a month. Not in a way of like, screw him, but just to be like, hey, Kevin, my friend's going through a lot right now. I'm just kind of like making sure she's good. It's just no beef to you, but I just want to make sure she's good right now. And then let's hang out in a month. There's almost like a way to play it to where it's like, she's not hearing that like you're hanging out together a week after they broke up and there's like all this hurt. It could be a way to be like, hey, I'm just going to take a break from like, you don't have to see him ever, you can wait a week or a couple of weeks and just kind of let things settle a little bit, and to where you could kind of talk to her a couple times, get your friendship right, make her feel like there's support there. And then over time, slowly hang out again. Like, that I think if I'm thinking about myself, and one of my really great friends was hanging out with someone who like maybe broke my heart a week after, I could see myself being really hurt and being like, wow, is there really no like got my back at all? But if they waited like a month or two to hang out with them, and then we talked a bunch, worked through it, and then at some point they were in a friend group and hung, I would feel like, okay, cool. Yeah, you kind of you made me a priority, but then you also didn't like say middle finger to that friend, I'm never talking to them again.
Totally.
It kind of got me to like see your side.
Yeah.
That would be
think
mine.
That's good. I think that's good.
Tough though.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, but good luck with it. I'm
Good luck.
sure your friend, it will mend. These are painful times. Breakups are always so hard, and
Breakups are the worst.
and the hearts are so sensitive that
There's no right way.
yeah, I think it'll mend. Maybe stick it out because that's your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh my gosh. Katie,
you came on a podcast.
Katie, you did a
Oh my God.
podcast.
www.yourmomanddad.com/AuntKatie.
You guys, that doesn't exist, so don't go to that page. I don't know what weird shit's on that page. There might be some weird dark web
honestly,
stuff.
by the time that this episode drops, knowing Aunt Katie, she might have created a website. It's not past her to have
Slash Aunt
talked
Katie.
about creating her own dating app called
I need to do
Katie.
that. Lee, do you know how to make an app?
You can Google it.
Katie has an idea that she wants to start her own dating app, and it's just called Katie, like get someone to make it. And so when someone's like, can I find you on the dating app? She's like, you can find me on Katie. And it's literally just an app where you can just date Katie. And we just call it Katie.
You could, there's all sorts of amenities and things on there.
You can send me flowers or chocolates or Uber Eats.
Or McDonald's.
I love McDonald's. At McDonald's.
Oh, Katie, we love you so much.
I love you guys.
Can't wait to have our stagecoach adventures.
We'll talk about it next
Family
week.
will report back with how it goes, and maybe which
Maybe I'll get a
gentleman from
rose.
Bachelor
Maybe you'll
gives
get
Katie
a
a
rose.
rose. I believe in it. I know it. We love you, family.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Oh,
Have
wait,
a
do you
great
need to plug
weekend.
anything?
What?
Nope. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Plug what?